over some information from Chapter 11, which deals with how you cite your sources once you have found them, as we discussed in Chapter 10. So now that you've found your information and you're writing down where you got those interesting statistics or perhaps a testimony or a story, facts, quotations, whatever supporting material you plan on using, now you have to give the audience that information in an effective way. So it's acknowledging sources in your speech is a critical part of speech making, because if you do not put a citation in your delivery, then the audience has to assume that everything that you are saying is your own information. And if it is not, then that is considered plagiarism. And you do not want to plagiarize in a speech. So it is very important to know how to cite the information that you are sharing. Now, even if you don't use information that you found word for word, even if you paraphrase information, you still need to cite where you got that idea or that concept from. All right, so when you do that, it tells the audience that you are a trustworthy speaker. It establishes your own credibility, and it helps the audience to know where they can go to find further information on the topic if they choose to. So Chapter 11 gives you on page 86 the 4 things that should be included in every citation that you give in your speech. Now, I will say that for some sources you may not be able to find all 4 elements that I'm about to go over. But I do expect you to do the best that you can and to be very diligent in searching for this information. So, the 4 things that should be included in every oral citation are: number 1, the author. Okay, that could be a single person or it could be a group or an organization, but we should know who that information came from. Number 2, we need to find out from you what type of source you got that information from. So was it an online journal? Was it a magazine? Was it a weekly blog? We need to find out what type of source you got that information from. Third, you need to tell us a title or description of the source. Now that will depend on what type of source it is. If it was a magazine article or a journal article, for example, you would give the title. But if it was a blog, you would more give a description of the source. Or, some other, if it's not like a book or something that has a title, then you would give a description of that source. And fourth, the last thing that you need to do is give us the date, okay, of the source. So if it was, for example, Time Magazine's, an article in Time Magazine, I would give the title of the article, who the author of the article was, and then I would also say that it came from the July issue of Time Magazine. Okay, we need to know how old that information is or how current or relevant that information is. So you need to give 4 things again in an oral citation. Number 1, the author. Number 2, the type of source. Number 3, the title or a description of the source. And number 4, the date of the source. Okay? The only other thing that is really important in Chapter 11 that you want to make sure that you do is that as you introduce each citation, try to vary your wording so that it doesn't sound so monotonous or repetitive. So if I'm giving a speech and every time I have to give a source, I keep saying, according to the June issue of Time Magazine. Then I talk for about a minute and then I say, according to the July online article, da-da-da-da-da. After a while, keep saying according to gets very mechanical and boring for the audience and probably for you as the speaker as well. So to avoid that, you want to vary your wording. You can introduce the citation in a variety of ways, and you could say, as stated by. You could say, such and such an article taught me that. You can say many different variations of ways to introduce your citation. So I encourage you to kind of play with that and see what sounds right to you, and make sure that you are creative in the way that you vary the way that you introduce your sources. All right. I will be listening for those citations in your second speech, the informative speech, so that I know you are credible as a speaker. Thank you.